going to get to the affected communities. If you look at Nevada, most Nevadans live in this bottom corner or this top ridge, and that's because the middle part is Western Shoshone land, which is land that does not belong to us. And the reason why there's so much conflict between Western Shoshone and other indigenous tribes here is because I just recently read an article. There are some areas where underneath those land there's $9 billion worth of gold. So of course that's going to create a conflict, and there's going to be a lot of pushing and pulling and conflict and hurt feelings and mean miners who are going to create a lot of conflict for the people, not only who that land belongs to, but also for the people who have to live in those communities. So first we're going to start off with Michon, and I'm going to let you introduce yourself and then go on ahead.
All right, good. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's really good to be here. Thank you, Guy. That was very moving and touching, and I appreciate your activism. That's really great. My name is Michon Eben. I'm from Reno, Nevada. Flew in today, and yeah, we have to leave at 7:30, so I'm just trying to keep that going. Anyway, I represent the Reno Sparks Indian Colony. Across the United States of America, there are several nations, over 500 Native American nations, so I in no way speak for all Native nations. I'm here just on behalf of the Reno Sparks Indian Colony. We are located in Reno, Nevada. We represent members and descendants of Washoe, Paiute, and Shoshone people. It's good to see my relative here. I'm also Paiute and Shoshone. My mother comes from Death Valley, Shoshone, and my father comes from Pyramid Lake, Nevada, so I'm Paiute and Shoshone. I'm here to kind of turn it a little bit. I'm here to talk about the past and a mining company that our colony fought over 10 years ago. So I want to talk a little bit about that and talk about some suggestions and how we were able to defeat this small mining company. And so with that, like I said, the Reno Sparks Indian Colony, we're located in Reno, Nevada. We have 28 acres down in the middle of Reno, Nevada, right by US 395. We also have some other development areas, economic development land areas throughout Reno and Sparks. And then 20 miles north of Reno, going towards Pyramid Lake, Nevada, we have 1,900 acres out above a ridge on some really pretty land. And surrounded by us is BLM, so public land surrounds us all around us. So back in 1999, a Chicago-based mining company called Oil Dry Corporation came about and wanted to think that they could come and unearth some clay right next to our community. And out in this 1,900-acre community is about 500 residents. And we're kind of the younger generation out there from the older generation being located downtown in Reno. With this company, their proposal was to have 2 open pit mines, like right adjacent to us, a couple hundred feet away from our homes. And then also start up a plantation processing plant. The processing plant would be located on private lands, and the 2 mining operations would be on public lands. So they had to go through BLM to get their permitting. So of course we went through the NEPA process, the EIS, all that fun stuff. And I'll talk a little bit about how I met and started to work with some of these gentlemen that are up here with me on this panel. So during this time, Chicago-based Oil Dry Corporation, they are like the leading manufacturing company for kitty litter. And they wanted the clay to have, they were saying that the Hungry Valley clay is the best clay out there. It would just be the greatest thing for their kitty litter. And that they would, the same old thing, they're going to produce jobs. I'm already loud, so I may not even need this mic. But I'm so conceited, I like to have the mic think I'm something, I guess. So anyway, okay, is that better? Yeah. I'll try to do that. Okay, sorry. No, you guys are all looking at me. Okay, sorry about that. Yeah, sorry. Okay, so the permits that were needed were BLM special use permit to extract minerals by constructing 2 open pit mines, like I said, to modify some roads and build a processing plant, which was be located on BLM lands. The BLM approved Oil Dry's proposal after much opposition, after much of us doing a lot of work on this project, but they did approve it with one condition, that the company needed to go to the Washoe County Board of County Commissioners to get a special use permit to operate their plantation on the private lands. And with that, the Washoe County Board of Commissioners denied the permit. And so once they denied the permit, the whole project was denied. And of course, Oil Dry Corporation decided, well, no, hey, we've got the 1872 mining law. We have all these laws that we can go by. BLM, it's on public lands. That we're going to take it to court and we're going to fight this. And we thought, oh, gee, okay, here we go. They challenged this decision in the court, but the company has, like I said, they kept bringing up the 1872 mining law. And we know 1872, that was a long time ago, and this is 10 years ago, but here we are in 2011, and that mining law still keeps coming up. Even though what happened was the judge ruled that Washoe County did have a right to deny that special use permit because of the health and the safety of neighborhoods. And I want to talk a little bit about how we were able to be triumphant. Now that sounds fast and how it went. It was a long year process. But what our little tribe did was, and we're not a very rich tribe, we do have some economic development, and I think this corporation came in because they like to come to poor communities because they think we're uneducated, they think that we do need jobs, yeah, we do need jobs, but they also think that money can just be thrown around and thrown at us. And in our community, yeah, we love jobs, yes, we're poor, yes, some of us are uneducated, but what really drove this was that they came in as a corporation and they trampled on us and they tried to lie to us. So what we did was we built allies. We built allies with Mr. Tom Myers down at the end, Mr. John Hatter. We built allies at University of Nevada, Reno. We built allies all throughout Reno. And how we did that was we thought of the special interests of what we wanted to do in that community. And our community was based on, not only are we recognized as the Reno Sparks Indian Colony in the middle of Reno, Nevada, but we also do a lot for our community. In our economic development and throughout, what I mean is that we share our revenues. We do a lot for our community. We give to our schools, the Washoe County schools, but we also bring about a lot of justices out and for ourselves. And how we did that was we started an oil dry task force, and PLAN was a big part of that. Bob Fulkerson, a lot of us activists. I know that Nevada Sierra Club, I'm so sorry. The Sierra Club, yes. Great Basin Resource Watch was actually the Mine Watch at that time came about. And we pulled it together and brought about what our common interests were. And a lot of it was no residential mining, because they would bring up, oh, you guys are against mining. And just like Laura said, we weren't against mining, but we were against residential mining, because residential mining is inappropriate and can be a very health hazard to our communities. And I think that was important to us. So we also went around to the local citizen advisory boards and kind of just presented the information, and knowing that this mining company they're a little smaller base, but knowing that this mining company could not just come in and trample on in a residential area, because not only is Hungry Valley surrounded by BLM land, public land, we also had communities adjacent, well, neighboring to us. We had Sun Valley, North Valleys, Warm Springs, Stead. We had other little communities around us. And what really brought about was that all the trucks that would be coming in through the process plants kind of scared out our neighbors, because they would be big diesel trucks and they would be bringing like hundreds of trips a day at the processing plant, bringing it from the open pit mine to the processing plant and then exporting it out of Hungry Valley. And that kind of scared a lot of people out. One of the main things we did, and I'm trying to hurry on this because I want these gentlemen on the scientist side and be interested to hear to hear about the mining on the science side, is that one big thing that we did do as an oil dry task force was we bought stocks in Oil Dry Corporation. And we went to one of their stockholders meeting in Chicago. And that was the funnest trip, but it was also very enlightening, but it was very powerful. Not only did we get into the meeting, and the people did recognize who we were, but we got to hear, in the stockholders meeting, we got to see the financials, we got to hear what was going on in there, and we got to hear their pitch of why it was so important to have this mine in Hungry Valley, Nevada. The other thing too is a lot of the stockholders were people that were in other states that had oil dries in Mississippi. They're in Taft, California. They're in Chicago. They're everywhere. So we got to see a lot of people come in and talk about how this mining company was the greatest thing for their communities. And that's fine and dandy for Mississippi, but in Hungry Valley, Nevada, that was not fine and dandy for us. And so we did kind of take over that stockholders meeting. We just kind of questioned them, why Nevada, what their plans were. They were getting very upset and mad at us at their stockholders meeting. We did have the Chicago Tribune there doing a story, and we did have our literature put out there as well. But what was really good was building allies and getting together. But the most important thing was that we called a lot of Native communities in Chicago. They met us there, a drug group came, and after the stockholders meeting, we did have a protest outside of the stockholders meeting, right down the financial district of Chicago. And people would see what we were doing, and it was lunchtime, and people would stop, oh, what is this about? We would tell them about it, and they would grab signs on their lunch hour and just have us stand there. And the greatest thing was some fella from Chicago, Illinois, holding a sign, help save Hungry Valley, Nevada. He was from Chicago. And that just warms my heart that people really do care, that we were there for a reason. We wouldn't spend a bunch of time and buy stockholders, buy a share in Oil Dry Corporation to go and, it's not a waste of time, but it was an important part of our time. I think suggestions for moving on for our state of Nevada, and that happened in the past. We defeated, the judge told them goodbye, no, the Washoe County Board of Commissioners special use decision upholds. They did not fight it anymore. We did put our money where our mouth is, and we do own those mineral rights out there, so because we did not want somebody coming in smarter. The thing of it was, if they did not plan the processing plant on private lands, they would have been approved, and maybe they would have been out there building, but something would have happened. I'm sure we would have fought in some other way. So there's always somebody a little smarter that could come in and take something just a little bit different. I think businesses need to understand, and Americans need to understand, and begin to change its attitudes for making profits in America. America was built on racism, greed, rape, and murder, and especially atrocities to Native people. That's what's happening. That's how America was built. And it's always business orientated. We don't share our money. We wouldn't have poor people. We wouldn't have hunger in America if businesses didn't learn how to share those profits and needs for who we are today, and quit taking and building and exploiting our Mother Earth. I think it's a hard thing to capture in America. We need to change our attitudes about public school and what goes on and how we teach American history. We also need to need to realize not only what Guy was saying was that, yes, we need to be an active role in changing our Constitution. The Reno Sparks Indian Colony right now is changing our Constitution. It takes an secretarial election, but it is the members that change that. So if a small tribe with 1,040 members can do that, I know the state of Nevada could do that, because we do have a great state here. We have to be, Americans and mining companies and businesses, they have to be held accountable for what they do. And you're right, they do need to clean up their mess, because when I travel down 95 from Vegas to Reno, I see all the leftover mining companies that are just packed up and left. They've raped the earth, exploited, became billionaires, left us, and moved on. And I think we just need to hold people accountable. The last thing I do want to leave with is that recommendations for other communities that are fighting mining companies. Now, Oil Dry is smaller, and no way trillionaires or billionaires to what mining companies are today and what's being taken out of Nevada. But I think we need to, my recommendations are, know who your companies are, get to know your project proponents, and understand the laws. What's regulating these mining companies, and who's making these decisions on these mining companies, and to get a seat at the table. And that's what we did with Oil Dry. We attended every meeting, we went to every meeting, and we voiced our concern, and we let them know our interests. And I think that's what we need to do, just continue to be a part of it. And I do want to say very proudly that whenever we went to a meeting, our whole community came, even the children came. So we just brought everybody and taught and learned. And Oil Dry was a small company. Those are just kind of some suggestions, and I could go on and on because I like talking, but I'll just leave it at that. So thank you.